So to demonstrate how to build what we call a wireless networking profile manually, let's go into our router and disable our SSID broadcast. Okay, so let's go back into our wireless network connections and refresh. And we can see the Ding Dong network is no longer available. So what we're going to do is first we're going to manually build a Ding Dong profile on this particular computer, and then we're going to use Windows Connect Now to move those connection settings to another computer. So before we get this started, let's get into our wireless security settings so we can have easy access to our encryption key. I'll copy that, and then we're going to go to Start, Control Panel, Network Connections, and then we're going to right click on our wireless connection. Okay, now sometimes you may not see this wireless networks tab. If you don't see that wireless networks tab, there's a good chance that you have other third-party wireless utilities running on your machine, which is disabling the Windows 0 configuration service. If that's the case, you're going to want to do two things. First, you're going to want to go into that third-party utility and tell it to allow the Windows utility to handle the wireless configurations. Then you're going to want to make sure that your wireless 0 configuration service is enabled. So how do you do that? Let's go in here real quick and say, so we'll go to My Computer, right click, and go Manage. We'll open up a Computer Management Snap-in, which allows us to configure our services. Scroll all the way down here and look for wireless 0 configuration, and we double click on it and we click Start. Alright, let's get back into our connection settings. So when the wireless 0 configuration service is disabled, you will not see this tab. When it's enabled, you will see this tab. When you want to use Windows to configure your wireless network settings, always make sure that this checkbox is checked. Okay, so earlier you heard me use the word profile. What a profile is when you connect to a wireless network and you enter the settings that are needed to connect to that network, all those settings are saved into a profile. And on this computer we presently have two profiles, meaning that we have connected to these wireless networks in the past, and as a convenience they're saved for us. You can use this little utility to move them up or move them down according to which one's more important to you. Also, if something happens to the settings on one of your wireless networks and the settings get changed or the encryption key gets changed, you can always go in here. Instead of rebuilding a new one, you can just click on the one you have and redo the settings in here. But what we're doing now is we're trying to connect to the Ding Dong network, which is no longer in here and is no longer in our available wireless networks. Okay, so let's get back in here and create a profile for the Ding Dong network. So we go to Wireless Networks and we click Add. So what we're going to do in here is we're going to add our SSID in here. We're going to place our encryption type in here, and then we're going to copy and paste our network key into here. Now unfortunately, because of the way this thing is set up, we can't enter our parameters in that order. we need to do things kind of backwards. So the first thing we want to do is uncheck this, which will ungray these and allow us to paste in our network key. Then we can choose our encryption type. And you'll notice as soon as we do that, this goes back to being grayed out again, which is why we had to do this in this order. And then we can select either TKIP or AES. And we'll go with AES. And then we can type in our SSID, which is, click OK. And in a perfect world, this X would go away and would be replaced with a circle, meaning we're connected. Well, that's not happening, so what's the problem? You'll remember earlier I said that using non-broadcast SSIDs can cause setup of wireless networks to be kind of difficult. Well, this is what I was talking about. Now on Vista machines, there's a checkbox which allows us to tell Vista to detect non-broadcasting SSIDs. Well, that checkbox doesn't seem to be here. Why is that? Well, that's because we need to download a service pack for XP. During the introduction, I stated that Windows XP Service Pack 2 is a prerequisite. Well, there's one more service pack that we need to use in case we want to use non-broadcast SSIDs. And that update is the wireless client update for Windows XP with Service Pack 2. So what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and download this now and install it. And once I reboot, we'll come back and take another stab at setting up a profile for our non-broadcasting SSID.